Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Sneha Koshy and you're watching Beyond the Headline. As BJP wins Delhi after 27 years with a massive mandate leaving a drudging defeat for the Aadmi party, Yamuna has taken centre stage again. In 2015, Arvind Kejriwal had promised to clean up the Yamuna so well that families would be able to have picnics around the river and be proud of it. Yamuna will be cleaned. It can be cleaned. Yamuna is a holy river for us. We will do it in 5 years. People gave him the mandate, not once. Twice, he was the chief minister. For now, Yamuna looks like this. Look at your screens, ladies and gentlemen. Yamuna is considered one of the most polluted rivers in the world. Cut to today. Prime Minister Modi has said that the Yamuna disaster caused by Aapada has crushed people's emotions and faith, accusing them of insulting faith and reminding people that he is committed to his vow of making Yamuna Delhi's identity again. In fact, from Prime Minister Modi to Amit Shah to possibly the next Delhi Chief Minister, Parvesh Verma mentions of Yamuna were a common factor to their victory speeches. Let's listen in to what Prime Minister Modi said.
मां यमुना हमारी आस्था का केंद्र है। तभी तो कहते हैं नमो नमस्ते यमुने सदा त्वं भवस्व में मंगल कारणम च। लेकिन उसी यमुना जी की इन लोगों ने कैसी दुर्दशा कर दी, इस आस्था का अपमान किया। दिल्ली की आपदा ने लोगों की भावनाओं को, उनकी आस्था को पैरों तले कुचल दिया। अपनी नाकामी के लिए हरियाणा के लोगों पर इतना बड़ा आरोप लगा दिया। साथियों, मैंने चुनाव प्रचार के दौरान संकल्प लिया है कि यमुना जी को हम दिल्ली शहर की पहचान बनाएंगे। मैं जानता हूं ये काम कठिन है, मैं ये भी जानता हूं ये काम बहुत लंबे समय का है।
A look at the Trans-Yamuna Assembly constituencies. Just look at these numbers. 2025, BJP has won 11. Aam Aadmi Party has won 5. Let's do a comparison. 2020, BJP won 7. Aam Aadmi Party won 9. 2015, BJP won 7. Aam Aadmi Party won 9. It was the same for the last 2 terms. This time, just look at it. It's 11 and 5. So how much was Yamuna a game changer to the political fortunes? Remember, at the peak of campaigning, Kejriwal accused Haryana Chief Minister Naib Singh Saini of poisoning Yamuna. Listen in to what Naib Singh Saini's reaction has been today.
दिल्ली में एक ऐसी आपदा सरकार जो ईमानदारी का नकाब पहन करके बैठी थी, परंतु भ्रष्टाचार उसकी रगों में था। माटी के ऊपर जन्म लिया, उसी माटी को कलंकित करने का काम केजरीवाल ने किया। हरियाणा के लोग ऐसा नहीं कर सकते केजरीवाल कि पानी में जहर मिला करके अपने परिवार के लोगों को पिलाएंगे। आपने काम नहीं किया, ये उसका परिणाम है। आदरणीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में डबल इंजन की सरकार गति से लोगों को हमने कहा है कि हम पर्याप्त जल भी देंगे और स्वच्छ जल भी देंगे। हरियाणा पहले ही स्वच्छ जल दे रहा था, दिल्ली के जल को भी स्वच्छ करके दिल्ली के लोगों तक पहुंचाने का काम हमारी सरकार। दोनों के दो, कांग्रेस और केजरीवाल, एक ही थैले के निकले व्यक्ति हैं।
Amid all the political rhetoric, political fortunes have changed. What needs to be seen is if pollution in Yamuna will change. I'm being joined at this time by Manish Barriar, who's a political analyst. Very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm also being joined by Abhinandita Mathur. In fact, I'm told Abhinandita Mathur should be joining us shortly. Bhavreen Kandari joins us, environmentalist and member for My Right to Breathe. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Advocate Kapil Madan, who is a political analyst, as well as Ashutosh Mishra, who's a senior journalist. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Well, first, Bhavreen Kandari, let me just break traditions, break ranks, and just go straight to you first. We've been speaking all through the election season and even before that. Well, yes, Yamuna had the spotlight on it, but how much do you think the pollution in Yamuna really has the role in changing the fortunes of political parties today?
Yes, Sneha, truly so. A lot of conversations that we've had as citizens, as even the media, I think they did great amount of justice, whether it was about safe drinking water, clean air to some extent. But these conversations were clearly missing, in most of the, or rather all of the political parties, because they were not. This came up only as a topic for political bickering, but as far as solutions or what they were promising, there was no plans, there were no scientific ways or a vision document that came up from no one. And of course, then towards the end, when the manifestos came up, there was some some visibility in each one of them, but it's so half-hearted. And speaking about Yamuna, because obviously, problem is that with water or a river, polluted river, it's visible, so you see it. But there's even a bigger problem in the city, which is invisible, is the air, and it's the most polluted capital of the world. And unfortunately, there was no conversation about that. So this is, I think, the reason that now, because the visibility came up and these conversations came up, and it's very fortunate that we are talking of clean, safe drinking water and maybe some little bit of clean air. That is so important. These are critical issues that have come into conversation. And but again, like I said, of course, it's very good to.
No, I get your point. I think absolutely bang on, Bhavreen. It's interesting that even on a polling day, not just a polling day, in fact, the result day, the big counting day, when such a big mandate has been given to a party, somewhere at least, pollution and toxicity is being discussed, is at the center stage. But Abhinandita Mathur joins us at this point. She's the spokesperson for Aam Aadmi Party. Very good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Miss Abhinandita Mathur, here's the question that, we are asking tonight. Did Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party miscalculate what was at stake with the pollution in Yamuna?
Good evening. Firstly, I'd like to thank all our supporters and people who voted for us, because about 42% plus people voted for the Aam Aadmi Party as well. And, we respect the people's mandate. To answer your question, I think that, not as much. I think that we did discuss environmental issues, but I think none of the parties discussed them, hard enough. And we hope that, Aam Aadmi, the BJP continues some of the good work that the AAP has done and solve the other problems that they've been mandated to. So as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, we've had a rough 5 years. And Yamuna is the thing that we promised and we did not do. And it's acceptable if people of Delhi voted against that.
So do you think it has been a very crucial plank on which the results have been decided for the Aam Aadmi Party? Do you think Yamuna and the issue and eventually the entire discourse around it was critical to where Aam Aadmi Party is today?
I don't think I can answer it in this simplistic way. And frankly, we'll have to go back and do a bit of work to figure out what exactly, to give you a thorough answer. But I think all these issues plus more, I mean, elections are a complex thing, and especially when there is such a neck and neck fight.
Sure.
So I'm sure that, we have a lot to learn, but I think it would be unfair to answer it so simply. I think there was a lot at play. I mean, we were, uh, sort of attacked in an unprecedented way. Our entire leadership was in jail. And, this kind of attack after we had just won 62 seats in Delhi in our second term. So clearly there was an attempt to stall the work, and the work did stall. I'm not denying that at all. And, the people could not take it anymore. People have given us a mandate, they had given us a mandate to do something.
It's interesting you say that work was stalled, and I have gone through the last few years. I've tried and get the timeline of how things proceeded, but I'll get to that in a bit. Let me just get in Manish Barriar at this point. Manish Barriar, of course, there's this whole counter from the Aadmi party that work was stalled, all attempts were made to stall. But let's just start with today. You had Prime Minister Modi, his very strong references to Yamuna. Every BJP leader that has won has made references to Yamuna, including Parvesh Verma. When asked what is going to be his priority, he also spoke about air pollution and he spoke about Yamuna as well. Even Amit Shah made references to Yamuna. How much of this is really a factor that you attribute to BJP's turnaround? Because BJP's turnaround, of course, is stunning. But to think that a river, a polluted river, which is only worsening, has turned it around would be too simplistic to say, or is that how the BJP also looks at it?
Good evening, Sneha ji, and good evening to all your viewers as well as the co-panelists. I would say that, Sneha ji, this is a Boris Johnson kind of a moment in Indian politics. If you remember, Boris Johnson was, during the time of COVID, he had a party and stuff like that. And ultimately, he was pushed out of his post, prime ministership. I think the first thing I would say, I would come back to your Yamuna, obviously, but this Sheesh Mahal, the name Aam Aadmi Party itself became misnomer. Because during COVID, when things were so bad, his entire Sheesh Mahal was getting made. And that's something which is very shocking from someone of Arvind Kejriwal's promise, and he did bring that kind of a image and USP. But coming back to your question about Yamuna, I feel that was a very, very significant reason why Aam Aadmi Party lost it, because they could not understand even the spiritual connection with large number of Hindu people which is associated with Yamuna. We call Yamuna ji, Ganga ji and Yamuna ji, and they are Devis. So I think that feeling is there. You have to also understand, you were mentioning about that BJP won in these of the seats, but a lot of people from Eastern UP and Bihar, they do Chhath just after Diwali. And year after year, they go onto the banks of Yamuna River and they see how Yamuna was polluted. They could not really do their, whatever the festivals are, and they have to take a dip in that. So you can understand, and that's a substantial portion. I think Aam Aadmi Party did not realize, or maybe they trivialized the importance which has been given to a large number of people who are staying in Delhi. And so I would concur with you that Yamuna played a very important role, and it went beyond just being a river. I think it is beyond river. The way Ganga is revered, Yamuna is also revered in the same manner in entire North India as well as in the entire country. So I think that was something which is very close to the heart of the people of Delhi, and obviously the other associated things like polluted river. And there was a harakiri. This saying that the poison is there, somebody, he himself is from Haryana, and he was accusing the people of Haryana that they have poisoned the river. So that's something I think has also backfired. But it's something which is very heartening that pollution and river that has come into the discourse of election, and that's something which I would say
Okay.
it should come. Even the the air pollution should also come into the picture. That would be very good.
Kapil Madan, I want to come to you next, but allow me 30 seconds. I do want to go back to Abhinandita Mathur. Abhinandita Mathur, you have a right to respond because one of the most vicious attacks, political attacks, was launched at the peak of the campaigning, and it was the Aam Aadmi Party who accused an elected chief minister of poisoning the Yamuna. Very, very strong words that were used against a sitting chief minister. Ms. Mathur, when you look at the results today and when you look at the map of Delhi and you look at the entire Trans-Yamuna area and you look at the seats which are around, which are between Delhi and Haryana, is there a realization that possibly that was a wrong extreme to take, considering, and it's not just about the Jat votes, though it's a dominant population of the Jat votes in those belts, but just it's literally been far more than halved. Aam Aadmi Party, it's literally a wave of orange, as it were. How do you look at that?
Like I said, that we respect the people's mandate. It is, if it is so, if it is that the people of Delhi have voted in BJP, we respect that. I'm repeating. But to answer your question, actually, like I said, basics and obviously rework, a bunch of things. But I don't think that there is.
Okay. Okay. We seem to have some issue at this point. Mr. Kapil Madan, if you can get in. Advocate Kapil Madan, good evening. Thank you for your patience. One very quick question at this time. So, as I was talking about the entire seat around between Delhi and Haryana, that entire belt of constituencies, that Trans-Yamuna belt of constituencies. One, of course, the politics that was played at there, the allegations that were made against the Chief Minister of Haryana, the Jat domination belt, and obviously several other factors. But also Congress contesting in those belts. How do you look at what has unfolded in Delhi today? And one, could Congress have gone stronger on this issue? This had been your homeland, your heartland for a very long time. It's after 27 years that the BJP has been able to gain ground. Did Congress also absolutely miss the point of going viciously, strongly behind these points?
So let me just say one thing here. If you look at the data, I believe there are about 13 to 14 seats where the margin of the victory of BJP is almost the same or little lesser than what has been the total number of polled votes polled by the Congress government. So in at least in so far as those 13, 14 seats are concerned, I think you would agree with me, and in fact, all the viewers would also agree with me that it is only because of the Congress party that Aam Aadmi Party lost those seats by a very, very close margin, including Mr. Sisodia's seat, including Mr. Kejriwal's seats. So to say that the Congress has lost, I don't agree with you there, because Congress has, of course, yes, they've not got the seats which they could have projected. But then again, yes, if you look at traditionally the vote bank of Aam Aadmi Party, these were these are the people who does not subscribe to the ideology or the politics of Bharatiya Janata Party, and in fact this vote share, this political vote share traditionally belonged to the Congress. And I think for Congress it's a positive development that they have they have been able to expose Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, because your viewers would also recall that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's start in the politics was from an anti-corruption movement where Mr. Kejriwal used to brand several leaders of the Congress party as
No, all that is well. All that is well, Kapil Madan. But we are really talking about whether, and this is particularly, we're just taking a day out to really revisit the entire campaigning and the results that have come today on a day when Yamuna has been quoted so much. How much did Congress really demand for a clean Yamuna?
So, you look at the statement speeches, made by all the Congress leaders, they have sought accountability from Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and its government on the issue of pollution, etc. And, I totally agree with you that it was the middle class people who don't typically rely on the freebies, but they were, suffering on account of, pollution in the city, because every now and then, especially in the last 3 4 months, what we've seen is that the pollution level have gone to an extremely severe level, and there were grabs being imposed. People could not take their vehicles out. If they took their vehicles out, they were challaned. So I think it was the middle class who was not typically dependent on the freebies. They were, in any case, upset with the government insofar as the issue of pollution is concerned. And in fact, if my memory serves me right, Mr. Rahul Gandhi very specifically spoke about the issue of pollution. And when you talk about pollution, you talk about pollution in its entirety, in the entire vicinity, be it air pollution, be it water pollution, be it cleanliness
Okay.
issue. So I think the opposition, the Congress party have raised these pertinent issues, which has definitely dented the performance, as it was
But do
claimed
you
by.
think the entire optics that was made around it, the entire political brouhaha around it, the entire optics that was created, the imagery that was created, was created possibly by the BJP? Is that something that you would agree to?
No, let me just say
The
one thing
most
here.
telling
When
images
you
from the
are no,
campaigning that really
no, let me
lasted.
just no, let me just say one thing here. If it's a triangular, contest, there are three parties, and there is one party which is incumbent. And if both the parties are seeking accountability from the party which is in power, I mean, you can't really take credit. But yes, I do agree with you. In fact, people have shown confidence in BJP's, leadership and promise. That's the reason why you have that kind of a result. But to say that, these two opposition parties, BJP and Congress, have, one has performed better or the other one has, performed lesser, you will have to also see it from the point of view of where BJP stands today. They are in center. All the central agencies are in their control. I mean, we saw how, LG has also perhaps, played some role. We also saw, when that services bill was, amended by way of a law that was introduced in the parliament. So I do agree with you. Yes, BJP gets some sort of,
So the
better
LG at this point.
positioning. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ashutosh Mishra, how do you look at this, Ashutosh Mishra? The election day, the counting day, not very often you have the scanner on pollution. Not very often you would have the scanner on a toxic river. These were promises that were made repeatedly and have been made repeatedly. It was not just in 2015, 2018, 2019, 2023. All these promises were repeated several times. What do you make out of what's unfolded today?
It's not so simple that only a comment on Yamuna turned the table. Actually, Yamuna became a symbol of Kejriwal disowning responsibility. If you remember, there was a sort of event held by Ravi Shankar, Shri Ravi Shankar, and at that time NGT had intervened. But Arvind Kejriwal was seen on stage with Shri Ravi Shankar. Similarly, instead of owning up to the mistake that he has been unable to clean Yamuna, he sort of tried to shift the blame, which has been his habit. I mean, if anything good is happening, it's because of Kejriwal. If anything bad is happening, it's because of Modi and Amit Shah or BJP. So here, instead of his comment, especially his comment that the river has been poisoned, that sort of was the last straw on people's patience. They realize that the voter has been observing him over the last two terms. They have seen that he does not do things which actually help them. As my other co-panelists were talking about air quality, air pollution also was there. Specifically in case of Yamuna, this was something, I mean, just like air is unbreathable, Yamuna was visible. And instead of talking about why it has not been done and how he plans to do it, he is again trying to shift blame. So people were sick of a person who is making excuses, who only wants you to divert attention from his own misgovernance. It's a simple case of misgovernance. And we keep talking about sheeshmal, corruption. That is fine. I mean, if you remember, similar allegations were made against Narendra Modi that during the COVID he was building Central Vista and those sort of things. And that hurt Modi also. He's down to 240 seats. But in case of Kejriwal, that was the last straw. And BJP understood it, and that's why they sort of, in one of their ads, they said that we'll make Yamuna Riverfront like Sabarmati Riverfront. And that was sort of,
Correct.
They were encouraging people to vote for BJP because they had an example to show. Instead of latching on to BJP and attacking them for not being able to clean Ganga, Kejriwal started defending his own inability to clean it by making ridiculous accusations. And that's why Yamuna has played a role in this sense by being a symbol of his inability to govern and always trying to shift blame. Yeah, that's the importance of Yamuna. But there are many other reasons why he lost.
Sure,
So there
sure.
are many
Mr.
other-
Barriar, do you want to come in at this? Mr. Barriar, do you want to come in at this point? I mean, Mr. Ashutosh is saying, at the end of the day, what really happened with Yamuna was symbolic. And symbolic to the point, something that BJP has had to face during the Lok Sabha elections as well.
Well, I would not agree fully with him. I think there were several issues at play. I would agree on the misgovernance part. I think, for long periods of time now, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party used to shift blame on every, non-performance to the center. But then, as you would remember, that Mrs. Sheila Dikshit also, she was the chief minister during BJP's time, and she was able to really, perform as per the expectations during her time. So, there was a comparison chart available to the people of Delhi as to what Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has done. So, the honeymoon period was the first term. And to his credit, in the first 5 years, he did make a difference, and which is why the people of Delhi rewarded him. But I think in this second term, he was a colossal failure. And his aspirations of taking the party to a national level meant that he made Delhi people suffer. So, he took, as we all know, it was pretty well known to people that he would not sign any files, and it was the deputy chief minister who was really running the show. So anyway, he was not very serious about, Delhi as such. And I think people were looking from him, the leadership, which he was unable to provide. I think because of that leadership problem, Aam Aadmi Party lost.
Abhinandita Mathur joins us again at this point. Abhinandita Mathur, I think you were not there when Mr. Ashutosh Mishra was speaking. Now, Ashutosh Mishra made this point that what has happened with the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal is nothing but symbolic of what he says was disowning responsibility, of Arvind Kejriwal disowning responsibility, not acting to what he should have to defend it or to acknowledge what was not being done, instead trying to attack a front, and people saw that as a last straw. Do you think, with what Ashutosh Mishra is saying and how the results have panned out, Delhi has voted for a double engine ki sarkar?
Certainly, people of Delhi have, must have a reason. But what I must also point out, and I agree with most of what he's saying, but I don't think that it's fair to get into a debate tonight. I think that, for us to honestly, process what has happened, understand what has happened, and not get into argument. We're not in election mode, so I would not, worry about defending things. But I want to share that, we are also taking it very seriously that the people of Delhi have elected us as a strong opposition. Unlike the last two terms where we got 67 on 70 and 62 on 70, And with all the challenges that we have had, whatever, people did not want to elect us back in the government. They wanted to give BJP a chance. But they have given us the opportunity to be a good opposition, and hopefully we will also deliver there.
Okay.
And ensure that,
Okay.
that
I'll
we,
not
if
push
you
you
are
more.
not government, please
I'll
don't
not
do
push
it.
you more, Abhinandita, because no, I'll not push you more because I think you do want to take your time to process things, and I'll just leave it at that for you. I think I'll allow you that space, though quite honestly, that's what we are debating today, particularly about the action or the inaction of Yamuna. But last words at this point from Ms. Bhavreen Kandari. Ms. Bhavreen, so it was in 2015 that Arvind Kejriwal spoke about cleaning up Yamuna. In 2018, it was the NGT that said the work for 14 sewage treatment plants had not even begun. In 2019, Arvind Kejriwal inaugurated the mega sewage treatment plant at Okhla. In 2020, Arvind Kejriwal promised another term and he would clean up Yamuna. Another term happened. It's ended now. The Yamuna cleanup did not happen. As a citizen who's passionate about this, what are your expectations of the government that's coming in? Ms. Bhavreen, there's some, we can't hear you, Ms. Bhavreen, at this point. You'll have to unmute yourself, I think. Okay, Mr. Ashutosh, you are having your hands up. Please go ahead.
My fellow co-panelist was talking about Sheila Dikshit getting along with the center. You have to realize that this time the Prime Minister was not someone like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, but people like Modi and Shah, who were antagonistic to, and the Chief Minister, as he rightly pointed out, had national ambitions. So that clash of egos was also there, which wasn't there when Sheila Dikshit was there. So you have to be fair to Kejriwal also. He faced these headwinds, which Sheila Dikshit did not. But the case in point here is that in case of Kejriwal, besides the corruption, his liquor policy, the women voters, if you see in most of the states, women are worst hit when men start drinking. You are opening so many new thekas where you will sell alcohol, and it's the woman who will get hurt. So how can you expect that woman to vote for you if you are he or she rather she has a husband and son who would be become alcoholic? That also went against him. And Kejriwal also lost a lot of he used to play soft Hindutva. Now this time when he aligned with India Alliance, the same people, the same RSS people who used to support him, they went against him and they went back to BJP. That has also hit Kejriwal very badly. Because I remember in 2020 at this DND flyover, there was a poster by a RSS person, the Madan, who said that we will vote for Modi in Lok Sabha, but Kejriwal in assembly election. So there are many reasons why Kejriwal lost, and why it will be an uphill task now for Aam Aadmi Party to sort of revive from here.
Right. Okay, I think I wanted to go to Bhavreen Kandari, but we have some audio issues at this point. We are also out of time. So Manish Barriar, Abhinandita Mathur, Bhavreen Kandari, Advocate Kapil Madan, as well as Ashutosh Mishra, thank you very much for your time. 5 years ahead for the government to prove itself, and many like Bhavreen Kandari would be hoping that pollution would be something that would see a strong tackle by this government. Thank you very much for joining us.